Well, I have
This meeting is being recorded.
the noise on, so I think that'll be okay. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm watching in the corner. Okay, so we have a quorum this time, which is great because we didn't last time. And I think to start, we want to touch on a little bit. I think we'll have Sergi go just to give us an update on our membership.
We have 497 as of last count. We were a little bit concerned because I believe there's about 30, we thought there was a 39 member drop off and it's kind of freaking out, but Hazel had explained that there is a lapse in the amount of time between the 2 months. So we were kind of waiting to see if those members were signing back on. So what we actually ended up with, I think, was we had an excess of 3, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hazel. But the number wasn't as high as we thought it was. We had a meeting on June 8th where we got together, and we're still kind of working together with the Google Sheets versus Google Excel. So Hazel did say that she was going to help us generate some of those reports still. Tonight, I'll be sending you the welcome letter. So I'll send it to Stacy, Hazel, and Ruth. So you guys can look at it. And so I can get that sent out as quickly as possible. I'm trying to figure out a way how I can look at the roster and quickly identify the people on there who's joined or lapsed off and just pull that from there with the based on their email addresses and kind of trying to find an automatic way to do this, where I can see the email addresses, pull it, and Hazel mentioned mail merge. I haven't heard that term in a while. So we're still trying to work out the kinks, but tonight I'll be sending you, Stacy, Ruth, and Hazel a copy of the welcome letter. So you can see about some elements that we needed to just input to it. I was working on it when the power went out. So you'll get it tonight. I'll sit in my driveway if I have to. So you'll get that tonight. And I think that's all I have, unless Hazel wants to add anything. Oh, I don't know if you see the cat. Did you see the cat? He's fluffy and temperamental. Yeah, that's all I have for today, unless Hazel has anything to add.
I would like you to use me as a test. When I re-upped, just to give you an update, sorry, I'm listening, but Solomon's trying to log on, and I just sent him the link again. He wanted to resend, so he's trying to be here. I don't know what's going on with him, or with our link. I want you to use me as a test though, Sergi, because when I rejoined SPJ, I had a question about how much I actually needed to pay because I overpaid for the conference since I was a speaker. And then I forgot to ask the question.
Okay.
So my membership lapsed a couple of months. So I've been your chair without even being a member of SPJ. So, but when I finally just said, okay, forget it, I'm never going to ask the question. I'm just going to pay it. It's fine. So I did, but there was no space for me to check the freelance community at all. And I was going to go in and just like finagle it and do it myself, but I want you to see if I'm in there. I want to see if we get kicked off or if we stay in. I wanted to see how that works because I think that probably happens a lot where, I mean, I think if you re-up your membership in time by a deadline, you probably get rolled over, but I wonder if I did not get rolled over into the freelance community. And again, there was no way to click it.
I will check if you are official, Stacy. But the same thing happened to me as well when I think last year before the, oh dear, children, where I wasn't actually, I was president of SPJ Louisiana, but I wasn't a member. So, and I mentioned that to Hazel. I think that there are maybe many people, because I think even on my board, people aren't getting notices where they're actually, where if they've dropped off, they're not necessarily alerted, and they're also not, they're not collecting dues as well. I'm not sure if you're officially, but I'll check to see, but this is not, goodbye. I will check to see.
Okay.
I'm being cats and
And
children.
I love kids so much. So don't ever apologize for your child just living and existing. That's totally acceptable. I want to go back just to make sure you guys have it. It's in this agenda, but the board meetings are July 12th, August 16th, and September 13th. Just note the September 13th, I think we'll have to go 2 hours because that's 2 weeks before the convention. Maybe we'll only need a half hour. Wishful thinking. So those are in. Those are booked. Just to give you, also, I did right before, 10 minutes before this meeting, I went in to look at, just to kind of check. I always check right before, and there was another meeting that was scheduled in our time slot. Thankfully, I didn't know the committee. I didn't know who was on the committee, and I called Hazel, and she knew right away. And I called him. It was Adam Sennett, and he apologized. He said, "Oh, I think it's just people not knowing. Oh, this must be Solomon. Perfect." Great. Okay. Now Solomon's here. So I think it's just people not knowing. So I just said, I told them, no worries. It's just an honest mistake. And I just said to kind of spread the word. I've alerted other people who I have no connection with at all that their meetings were going to overlap when I just happened to see it in there. It's probably weird because it probably feels like I'm stalking them, but they were very thankful. I'm going to, let me just, for some reason, let me unmute you here.
Sorry, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, can you unmute him or ask him to unmute? Sorry.
I will.
Hi, Salman. I don't think he can do it himself. Yeah. There's just a button that you hit that says ask to unmute Hazel.
It is.
All right, I'm going to keep going. So Facebook came up over the last week or so. Susan actually sent an email, a text. I don't even know, but from Portugal. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're on vacation. But she's been handling a lot of the Facebook admin requests as an administrator and letting people in or saying, oh no, this doesn't meet the criteria to be a part of this. And I think we need more. I know Ginny had done it a little bit too. Ginny, you can speak up and correct me, or you've done it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So what I think is happening is we sort of get living our lives and working as we should. And we sometimes forget that exists, right? I've done that a million times with different things. Not my kids yet. So if we can't forget that these things exist, right? So we've got to get in there. What's on the agenda is talking about, should we have 2 people sort of assigned to this? And you could rotate by week or month or however you want to do it. Or should we all take a turn at this? And since there's several of us on the board, should we all do until the next board meeting, this person has Facebook? And then until the next board meeting, the next person has it. And that is your thing. And even if, let's say you have one really busy week and you don't have any time to check Facebook, that's okay. Those people will sit there for a week and then you can get to it the next week. But I kind of came up with that thought after I wrote this agenda. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it would be Chris, Ginny, Sergi, me, Ruth, Solomon, and Stephanie, potentially. That's 7. That'd be 1 month. Some of us are, we're going to keep rotating through, but I feel like that's maybe a better way to do it. We can kind of pass the Facebook gong. Susan's going to be doing Twitter, so I don't think we're going to mess with that. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the idea of several of us having responsibility beyond just, oh, I think I'll check on it, or I just thought of something I should post.
Yeah, okay. Exactly, and that's a good point, Ruth. It gets the people who don't, like, I don't get very involved in Facebook outside of my personal, like just with my family. But it gets the people
on
who
Facebook all day long, so it's no issue. It's not a problem.
But it gets the people who are not on it involved a little bit more and can have a little bit of it. So all of our board members will have a little bit of a presence, so they can post instead of just admitting, maybe you post a couple things a month. We can kind of explore those ideas later. Because that, I kind of like that thought of that too. So Hazel, are you raising your hand like a real, okay, go ahead. You can push the little button. Okay, go ahead,
I
Hazel.
could do that. I can push buttons, trust me. The problem with that is that, oh, Stacy, where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. You just moved. Oh,
Oh.
'cause Solomon raised his hand.
Oh.
The problem with that is that only administrators, people with administrative privileges can do those things. Does that mean that you want everybody on the
Yes.
board to be an administrator? I
Yep,
think
and that was my question to you. That's what I was just gonna ask you is let's have, I am so sorry about this lighting, is let's have everybody be it. And really because let's say that it's only Susan and Ginny on it right now. And then Susan's in Portugal and Ginny gets COVID again or whatever, you know what I mean? Like Ginny gets sick. We need people to, if everybody knows it, I think it's one of those things we need to make sure that everybody knows it. So when I check out or Susan checks out or Ginny checks out for whatever reason, we've got someone else to jump in.
So are you, if I understand this correctly, are you suggesting we have two kind of co-page admins at a time, or two of us who are the ongoing co-admins and somebody else who's responsible for specific months?
I think we should all equally share this, and we should have, if Hazel, just let me know if this is possible, because I don't do any of this kind of stuff with Facebook. Can we have, I don't know, 7 administrators?
I'm going to look right now. And I'll
Okay.
tell you.
Go ahead,
Give
Chris.
editor rights to people.
I think we can have as many admins as we want.
Okay, so sorry, Chris, go ahead.
So you can have people, you can give people editor rights on Facebook where they're not necessarily an admin, but they still have editor rights. I don't know if that gives you, sorry, I'm not on one page that I don't go on very often, where I have the right to remove an ad post, to add people. And I don't think I'm an admin though.
Okay. So that's all we
figure
want.
it
We
out.
want to give, the big thing is giving everybody the ability to admit somebody, or, to kind of vet them and say, oh, this is a PR person. This is not a journalist. We can't let them in. So we all have, and if you have questions on that, Susan and Ginny and Hazel probably are the people to ask about how do you know who to let in? And that probably is a 5-minute conversation with one of them outside of here. Like when it gets to be your month.
I think if we have several of us who are all admins, and that's a good idea, because then if one person is overloaded, somebody else can step in and help. And I also think that, what am I trying to clarify? And I also think if somebody, even if somebody isn't a page admin, if one of our members notices that several people have asked to join and have not had a response, then they can do a group message to our freelance community to say, if there's an admin available, there are people waiting to be admitted to the group, and please handle it. Does that make sense? I'm really exhausted, so I may not be as clear.
Yeah, it does, because I can see, like, if someone's really busy and it happens to be their month, I can see, they're overwhelmed and they can't do it. But I think we need to really make the effort so that it isn't falling on somebody to always check, like, let's say Susan or somebody, because she's used to it. So it could be, if you think you're swamped, maybe just every Monday morning or Saturday night or whatever, whenever you work better, to set a reminder to do it. That might solve that or help that. Because I think most of us have to have conversations. First of all, Hazel, can you add us all as admins? I'm not an admin, so I can't get in.
We just, let's not do it during the meeting.
No, I know, I'm just asking, I'm saying it can, will you add us all, not can you, will you add us all?
I've started and
Perfect.
I think I added Ruth as a moderator instead of an admin by mistake. I'm not
Okay.
putting Sergi in the Facebook group. I don't find you as a member.
Hazel, if I'm a moderator, can I admit or delete people or
I'm
just,
not sure, but I'm gonna invite you to be an admin.
okay,
And,
I'll check Facebook after our meeting.
all right, everybody check it later.
Okay.
Unless you're offering to join our board, I think I'll leave you off if you don't mind.
Lance. Because I think that everybody here, with the exception of Hazel and Ginny, need just a little bit to absorb this and try to figure out what they're doing with it and have a conversation. Ginny, can you take this month?
Yeah, and I was gonna say that the way I've been doing it probably the last 3 months is I think I check it every week or a week and a half. And like, I feel like I was admitting like 12 to 15 people at a time. And then a few times I checked it, the people had already been approved. So I just assumed that Susan did that, but I was
Okay.
just kind of sort of randomly checking it, but regularly checking it, once a week-ish, or maybe a week and a half, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, this will at least share the load of that, and that could free up some, rather than putting one person on this, that will free up some. You'll see later in the agenda what we're going to ask for. Okay, so Ginny, I'm going to say, I think instead of like June 1st to June 30th, let's do it meeting to meeting. So can you do it until July, whatever that date is?
12th, I think you said.
12th, yeah. Yep, July 12th.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna put you on that, and then and I will make up just a little schedule. I'm just gonna randomly put you on there. Does anybody have a month that is completely awful, that you do not want to do it? That you
This
know of?
I don't have a month, but I do have a week, the week of July 2nd. It's my birthday, so.
Okay, okay.
Lazy.
Oh, fun. Well, Ginny's got that covered anyway. Solomon has his hand up. So sorry, Solomon, I've been writing and not looking at the screen.
Oh, I was just gonna ask about I had two questions here. So for admittance, do we have what's the standard for that? Like the process?
Oh, good question.
Well,
And
that's gonna be something that we're gonna do on our own if we can have I just don't want to take too much of the meeting talking about that. So like I said, let's reach out to Ginny or Hazel and have a quick conversation with them about it.
I can probably address it real quick.
Well,
The main criteria is they have to answer the questions that we put in there. And then we save those questions to make sure they're freelancer. And then usually we go check like their profile to make sure they're legit, or you can Google them and find out like if they're a journalist. So that's the primary basic steps.
Well, well, thank you. I didn't really want to answer that question now. I was just hoping that maybe someone could write it on a sheet of paper so that we can just look at it and then we never have to talk about it. Either way, and then we never have to talk about it again. So like it's because it sounds like it's pretty simple. So we just put that criteria and explain it, because I don't use Facebook a lot and we're going to get a lot of people that aren't tech savvy. A brief explanation of that vetting process, admitting, and the whole thing from beginning to end should be less than one page.
Ginny, is that something you can write out?
Sure.
Thank you so much. And then the other thing was, do we need to give everyone administration, or can we just do? Okay. All right. That sounds like that's answered.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to make it any more complicated. We're all on the board. Let's all be part of it. Let's all share the wealth on this and just make it easy. And I don't think, I think it gets too confusing. Like, oh, that person's not admin, but they're trying to do it this month.
Okay. Sounds good to me. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Moving on to programming. This is Solomon's update. Oh, and Chris, if you want to jump in here too with Solomon about the June event, and then if there's any other programming updates on any of the events or anything coming up, Solomon, other than what I have here. I don't know. We haven't talked about it, so probably not, but I'll let you take it away.
No, so Chris and I need to hash out some details. We did talk a little bit about what we wanted to go over. We're keeping it simple. It's basically for people who have never used a camera. This is not a master class in using photography. And then we had decided to split it a little bit. And then as far as I was going to tell Chris, I am collecting some online data about that. Like there's some sheets, because I know I saw the email, we were looking at where can we get the data and have some material we can share with people. So I'm going to start collecting that. I actually have a couple of sheets for that.
Okay.
And did you want to add something, Chris?
Yeah, I got to look through the stuff I did for my master's program and see if there's like some photography 101 sheets that we could share.
Okay, well, I have a couple of sheets that I can use, and then we can also use the NPPA, which provides a lot of that stuff. And then I have some sheets about how light works, and that's pretty simple. You know?
And if you can, you might have this already, but if you can come with a recommendation for people who aren't necessarily sure they're going to even be any good at photography, but they want to try it, what would be a good sort of starter camera that isn't $2,000?
We did talk about that. I think, you know, for the most part, people aren't going to want to drop a lot of money on cameras, and there's so many choices out there that it becomes a challenge to say this is a good starter camera. It's like I'm a fan of Canon,
and I use Sony
Canon for over 10 years. So
we had talked about I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Solomon.
When we talked about it, we decided to kind of keep that into that at best in the question and answer period, because most people would rather spend their money on their phone anyway, because a camera is like, you know, a decent camera just to get started is going to be like $400 or $500, because you got to buy a lens, you got to get certain things.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're, you know, that's a cell phone for most people. So we were talking about just keeping it to cell phone. We can discuss some cameras and what to look for in a camera, maybe a little bit in the question and answer period.
Yeah, and even a decent point and shoot is going to be about $600.
Yeah, like there's a Sony ZV that Chris is probably familiar with that is like really recommended, and that's like $600 or $700. So again, for most people, a phone is probably going to be your go-to. And learning how to do basics applies to the phone or the camera, and we'll write that up a little bit.
Perfect. Okay. The July event is just a virtual, casual, hanging out event. We were going to do one more of these and see if more than 3 or 4 people showed up. And if not, we might do these a lot less often. So this is our test balloon for just one more time of these. We'll call it a virtual networking event. We called it a social, like a virtual happy hour last time. So that's July 26th at 7. I'm hoping we can all make that, be there just for this one. There's no agenda. It's just kind of sit and talk to other freelancers. Again, we have to get the promotion of these out earlier. So that's gonna happen before, but this one should be easy. I can even send this to Stephanie now. I know that Solomon and Chris had to get together and talk about this, and I know that everybody's crazy busy.
Yeah, and then I was going to see if we can help Stephanie, if she can give us the format that she uses, if we can ask her for that. I know I'd asked for it in the email, but she was really busy, you know, and then she had actually done it. But
What
you know,
do you need but wait, what are you asking her for?
So that graphic that we've been using, so that we have a consistent look when we're posting things online.
But isn't she putting it together? Aren't you sending her the words and she's putting it together?
Yeah, but like from my understanding, sometimes she's really busy. So if we have access to the graphic and the graphics pre-built,
okay. I understand. Okay.
In a shared folder, and we just stick the words on it, and then we don't have to, you know, when she can't, we can do it.
I gotcha. Okay. And my suggestion too is, which we hadn't talked about before, is I feel like we're not talking about the wording, the programming, or we've got the programming schedule, right? We know we're going to have an event in July and August, but we could do that right now. We could send the wording to Stephanie now, and we're not doing that. I'm not saying for this month, for the June one, we've never done that. We haven't done that with any of our events. So I feel like from now on, that would be helpful, is let's try to get the wording in a month ahead of time. which means we're sending it, like I'll need to send wording or just tell Stephanie what we're doing on what day and what time to her now. And then she doesn't have to feel pressured and stressed, and then we'll have it in plenty of time. So that's just a scheduling change I was thinking about that
Okay, well then
seems like
maybe,
a no-brainer, but we just haven't done that yet. So let's do it that way.
maybe we can make that part of the process when we plan events.
Exactly.
We plan the
Exactly.
events, we talk about what the event is, we get the idea, we get the pitch for it, we
Yeah.
decide to do it. And then the next thing is, who's gonna write this up? I'll write it up. Okay, when are you gonna write it up? And we just do that
Yeah.
in the meeting. And it'll take
So
all of 10
I'm gonna
seconds.
I'll write up the July event, which is gonna be one sentence. It's not gonna be much, and I'll let Stephanie kind of go creative with it, whatever she wants to do, but I'll do that and I'll send that over to her ASAP. And then August, we had talked about this. This is right before the conference. I don't know if we wanna skip that month, hold off and do this in, I don't know, October. I don't know, but this is the session that did not get approved for the conference, but we all think it would be a great session. So what are your thoughts on that? Should we do one in August? Should we hold off?
I think August would be a better time to maybe advertise our stuff that's going to be at the event. Like start pushing that out, letting people know, reminding them.
Talking about it,
constantly,
like
talking about it.
what to expect at the conference. Okay, I like that idea. What does everybody else think?
I
You're
think
in
Ruth's
mute.
trying to say something. Ruth is muted and she's waving her hands.
I don't know why this is happening.
Let me do it
I'm
from
Oh,
Facebook.
I'm sorry, I muted myself because I was
Oh.
from paper, so I had to be re-unleashed. I would suggest that we not have an event in August. It's kind of a traditional, I mean, we could have a board meeting, but it's kind of a traditional time for organizations not to do stuff.
Sure.
And then use that time to flesh out the rest of the year's events and build up some promotional time for our non-convention events and our convention.
That's a good idea. Yeah, like we can use that time to build that event, and then that'll give us a chance to catch our breath. So we don't feel
Yeah.
like we're so running behind the deadline all the time here lately.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time to catch up.
okay. I'm totally, that sounds good to me. I'm fine
And-
with that.
Hazel is raising her
Hazel?
hand.
The one, I'll be the devil's advocate here because I don't really care whether we do it or not, but last year, that was a very well-attended program when we had the what to expect from Media Fest. That was,
Okay.
it was a well-attended program. And people.
Well,
participated.
Well, and I think that could be one that we don't all have to attend. It could be a couple people who really want to go with this, run with it, and you know, we don't have to. I know that we don't have to attend all the meetings anyway, but maybe that's just if you can make it great, and you know, if you can't, that's okay too. But we got to have a couple people to run it or to, you know, to talk about it. I'm happy to do either way. I'm happy to co-host with somebody, or let somebody else host completely.
Was that the long
Hazel.
pregnant pause for the volunteer?
Yes. Who wants to co-host?
So what are we talking about co-hosting? What?
About talking about, Hazel said last year when we did this, we talked about what to expect at the conference, what's going to happen. We talked about it, and she said it was very well attended. I actually did
but
not
what
attend it last year.
What are we talking about for when you want to do that topic?
Oh, like
In
what date?
August.
Yeah,
It would be the end of August. It's the last Wednesday of August. I thought you said, what are we talking about? Not when are we talking about? So it would be August, maybe August 23rd, actually. That's the fourth Wednesday.
Hello,
Oh.
Lance.
I mean, we can do it whenever we want to. August 23rd or August 30th at the latest, I would say.
so we're talking about doing an August program after all.
Yeah, that's what Hazel just brought up.
Well, Okay, so now I'll be the devil's advocate to my devil's advocate. How's that? It's the end of August. People are either kids are just starting school or they're getting ready to go back to school and people are finishing up vacations. I don't know. I don't have young kids. I don't know what the things are like now. But that's a question that you might want to ask of people with kids.
That's why I'm,
I don't, I mean, we are done traveling August 20th. That's when soccer starts. We're done. So
but
the end of,
that's why I was suggesting we not do an August event. Although I understand the value of doing the what to expect from the convention before the convention, obviously.
But then if you tape it, if you record it, then if we ever get our website fixed, then it should end up going on under webinars on our website and people can watch the recording.
I think it would be super valuable. It also does not have to be in August. We could instead do this, or we could not do the one in July and we could do it, I don't know, the first or second week of August.
Well, I
don't
like
know.
the idea of having our events at the same point in the month as
I
much
do
as
too.
possible.
I do
The
too.
problem with September is that the convention is at the end of the month and we wouldn't want to wait till a day or two beforehand to do a program about making the most of the convention.
Right.
So if we have a couple, I mean, it can't hurt to try it in late August and just see if people do sign up.
I think that's when I don't think it was August though, because it was an October event. So we must have done it in September last year. So that makes a difference because it's not, summer and school, but we could try it. I think that these meetings are going to continue to be in September. So we can see if it works this year. And if it just was a simple thing of timing that why it was so well attended last year, then we can scratch it for next year. But I like that. Thank you for Hazel for being the devil's advocate. Because I do think it's valuable for people.
The date of the convention is September 28th through 30th this year.
Right.
Okay, so I got a couple questions. Can I? Okay,
Yeah.
so it sounds like we want to do a preview of what's going on in the convention. That seems like what everybody's excited about. So do we want to just I would suggest that we just do that in July. That way we don't have to push anything else because we're going to get crowded and we're already having a hard enough time catching our breath. We can keep August as an opportunity to catch our breath, and then we can use the material that we do in July to push the event as it gets closer. That gives us a chance to do double work with half the work done. And
I think July is worse than August.
You think so?
No, I think traditionally August is the month everybody assumes is going to be when people aren't available, or if they are available toward the end of the month. Like Hazel was saying, anybody with a family is preparing for school to resume. I like the idea of doing a convention-related July meeting. Maybe if we do anything in August, make that the social event, and then take the fellowships and grants topic for October or November as our webinar.
I'd like to hear from Sergi and Chris and Jenny. Sergi and I have children, and I can tell you that the 23rd or the 30th is not a big deal for me. I'm guessing that Sergi's kids are going to start about August 7th or August 14th because she's in the South. My kids start September 5th. So of the two people who do have families here, I'd like to hear from Sergi. That is not at all even a thought that it would be a school thing that I wouldn't be able to attend a 2-hour session.
Well,
or 1 hour
school
session.
and vacations and all of that.
Yeah, but anybody with a family is not on vacation anymore at that time. Sergi, what are your thoughts?
Right, so we do go back to school on the 14th, and it always usually is kind of hectic. I definitely see the value in having the pre-convention event. I think that is valuable. I expect that to be well attended. I was just trying to kind of work around that sort of time frame with the schools coming back. I'm also my older son's gonna come in and visit that early part of August, the 2 weeks before August, so that may factor as well, but that 2 weeks prior to is, the time that we'll be, back to school shopping and all of that. But I do see the value of having that pre-convention event. I think that'll be valuable. I'm just trying to kind of thinking about the spacing or the time to actually have it.
Go ahead, Hazel.
Okay, so after listening to all of this, and I agree with everybody, so that's a difficulty. There are conflicts in what we've said, but one suggestion is, Stacy, if you would host it, and then if somebody can host with you, good, and if not, then I know you can do this. Just, record. If anybody comes, so much the better, but just record what we would have said in front of other people and say, we have editor, freelancer meet and greet. This is who's committed right now. We have the freelancing 101. And, there'll be a little blurb to read if Ruth's not available about what that program's going to be. And then say, we have a lot of planning to do between now and then.
Yeah.
As far as what's going to happen at the convention, but then you can list a few things. We can have a come and learn about the freelance community. We're not going to call it brown bag lunch.
Yeah, I think we highlight everything we do in the freelance corner, the sessions, keep an eye out for these.
Right.
And my July and August are pretty open. I can help co-host whenever we decide to do this. So I'll leave it up to the rest of you to decide which way we go.
Well, I
Pitch
just
in however you need me.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, if we use it as a reason to record something to put on the website,
Mhm.
people
That's a
can
good thing.
access it, then, maybe it'll get some people excited about coming.
I think we can do both. I think we can promote it as come and attend it, and then we're gonna,
Right.
have it where it's accessed when we promote that webinar.
Exactly.
I would vote for August 23rd. I'll leave it up to, I won't leave it up to everybody else. I'm just saying we should vote on it. If we think it should be July or August, I won't co-host if it's in July. I'll just tell you that. I won't be able to. But I could do August.
That seems like
Okay. So August 23rd is what you said?
I
Yeah.
think so. I think
Okay.
August 23rd is the Southern families start school the 14th. Some start August 7th, but most of them start August 14th. And the Northerners start the Monday after Labor Day. So that is in the middle of it, right? The 30th would be busier for the people starting on September 5th. And the early in August is going to be busier for the people starting on the 14th. The 23rd could be the sweet spot.
Okay, and then like Hazel was saying, regardless of, I almost said irregardless, it's now in the dictionary. don't
Thank
hate
you.
me.
If you say that, I'm kicking you off the meeting.
All right, but it's irrelevant anyway, because like Hazel was saying, we can still record it, use that material to
exactly.
advertise it. So let's just pick that date
Okay.
because that works for you
Good.
and you're willing to host it, and then let's
Perfect.
move that
Okay.
forward.
And I can co-host.
Sounds good. I was gonna see if I can co-host too, but if you're gonna do that, then. let's
Well,
do it.
Solomon, do you want to co-host it? I want to make sure that we're giving, or Sergi or somebody else
Oh, let's
who
give
has
somebody
not
who's,
co-hosted before. I know you're doing the photography, but you haven't done any others. I just want to spread the co-hosting ability.
I just hate how my hair looks in this camera. I wanted to do it better. Okay, I'll do it. I'll get my hair done better then. And I'll wear a better shirt.
You're gonna dye it purple?
No, that's
Oh,
my
no, no,
wife
that's me.
and Ruth. Y'all can have that. I got
Before the end of
limits.
the year, Sergi is gonna co-host something, okay?
Okay.
And Jenny.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
right.
start sweating now.
Yes. So we got a date, we have 2 hosts, and then
Yeah.
between you and I, we need to put the dialogue out and then contact her, and let's try and get that by the end of next week. Does that work?
And just so I'm clear, should we still do the networking event in July?
Yes.
No. I was gonna say no.
I don't
I don't
care
think
either.
we could.
Want to take
I-
July off?
I would like to take July off and push all of our
Okay.
advertisement and stuff through.
I think that's totally, is everybody else okay with that?
I'm good either way.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
good with it. I
Yeah.
think it's best.
Okay,
And
So no event in July.
Ginny and Chris, are you okay
I'm
with?
good. Yes,
Okay. So we'll take the networking event off, which has been our least attended one so far when we call it a happy hour. So,
And I
Um,
think one thing to keep in mind, Stacy, is we have a really good topic for, let's say, October with the fellowships, grants and contests. And that's kind of good timing because it sets people up to enter things for or apply for things for the new year. And then for November, which is, that's the beginning of holiday season toward the end of the month. November might be a good time for an informal, just social get together, and we can
right, Okay.
benefit from the new connections people make at the convention and say, you know, we've met some of us have met in person. Let's keep the momentum going with a November social meeting.
okay, I like that. That's a good idea. Ruth, were you and Hazel gonna co-host the one on taxes? Who was doing taxes?
Did we talk about one on taxes?
Well, we talked about it a year ago, and we said we were gonna do it like January, or I don't think December is the right time at all.
No, I would
But
say.
I think
January,
I think we talked
February.
about doing it in January, but just to kind of throw it out there I can't remember if it was you and Hazel. Hazel, go ahead.
It's me, but I need to roll this back because we said that we would do the fellowships and stuff like that in October, but I have something on my calendar that day that I cannot take off.
okay, so what day can we
So
do
I
in
cannot
October?
do the 25th. I could potentially do the 24th if a Tuesday night works for people. As far as I know, I have company coming from out of town on the 25th.
Who's your co-host, Hazel?
I didn't know I had one.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I get, so I'm
I
clear.
was going to try to find somebody to, like,
Well, if I can interject,
Yeah.
What about Susan?
Kevin Smith, Hillary Rossner, Michael Bolden, Liz Carter, right? Any of those could work with you
Well, but what
Oh,
about
you're
our own
talking
Susan?
about for fellowships and grants and
for the
stuff.
fellowships and grants. We could have an outside sort of person who does these, who awards these.
I want to work on that later. I can't think about it right now.
Okay, so, but let's just keep it open to that we can get
Okay.
one of these people that Ginny pitched to the session committee.
Right.
We have experts already who had said they would be interested in doing this, so let's
That would
not
be great to get them.
let's not recreate the wheel. Let's do it, pick one of them to go with Hazel.
That's a
So
great
do
idea.
you want to go with the 24th then, or do you want to flip it and do that in November? By the way,
I like doing, I think that's a good topic, Hazel, for October. And I think as long as it's within the same week each month, if it's off by a day every once in a while, I think a Tuesday, we might find a Tuesday is even better than a Wednesday, because I know a lot of groups that do Wednesday events. There's almost always a couple of conflicts. And I
Okay, so
choose.
for calendar purposes, what date October are we choosing?
the 24th.
24th.
Tuesday,
done.
October 24th, which I'm gonna check as soon as this meeting ends. I'm gonna check. It could be that that's already taken because some people do their monthly meetings the whole year. So tentatively, yes, let's do that. But if I have to come, if it's taken, we got to find another date.
Okay,
So
And then-
I'll let you know.
so we have an August event on the 23rd, We have ours coming up this month, then we have one in November.
October and November.
October 24th. And what's the date for November?
Well, it can't be the fourth Thursday. We know that.
Wait, what did you just say was the 23rd?
August.
Yeah,
Oh,
August
sorry.
23rd.
Yeah, I was going way back. Okay, August 23rd is our.
And then in November, let's see, hold on a minute. I'm looking at my calendar. All right, the fourth Wednesday of November is the day before Thanksgiving, which I don't think we want to use.
We don't
No.
use that week at all, yeah.
Maybe not that week at all, yeah.
No, yeah, no way.
So it's
So-
gotta be the earlier part of the
Gonna do
previous
something.
week. Can we do
22nd.
that? 22nd, is that the earlier part of the
That's the same week as Thanksgiving.
oh,
If we're
no,
going to do anything during the week of Thanksgiving, I suggest Tuesday, the 21st of November. Otherwise, either the 14th or the 28th.
I missed the first part of that. That 1, 2, 3, 4. We could do the 29th though.
I think the 28th or 29th would be better. You're kind of out of the Thanksgiving crazy, but it's before December crazy starts.
I
Okay,
won't have
so-
anything to do with the 28th.
You what?
Robert and I have our 53rd wedding anniversary. on
Oh,
the 8th of
Oh.
November.
Let's do a Zoom party.
Get,
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. We
Get
do
that
not
loot, lady.
celebrate
Get that
with
loot.
other people.
Okay, so Wednesday, the 29th, what did we, I'm just like looking at dates, so I didn't hear, what are we talking about doing in November?
Taxes.
What one?
Taxes.
Could we go through that entire list? It was August 23rd. I just want to make sure I get all my notes down. August 23rd is what?
That's the what to expect from the convention.
Okay, and what's next?
September is the conference, so there's nothing.
Sure.
October is
the 24th, possibly.
October,
tentatively.
Tuesday, October 24th, okay.
Tentatively, right?
Yeah,
Was that
And
the
that's for
fellowship one?
grants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
That's fine.
Fellowships.
Grant.
And that's tentative, right, Stacy? You have to check if that's been taken up, I think, no?
yep,
Right.
Yeah, I
Yes.
have to check to see if it's done. I would not do taxes in November. I would do taxes in January. I do not think that people have
Mental space.
I just think with all the stuff that happens in November and December, I think it will be better attended if it's January.
Okay,
That's just my 2 cents, and I would almost move that virtual networking event to the November one and then do nothing in December.
Well, I think nothing
than
in
our work.
December is a good idea. And I think if we hold off on taxes until, say, January or even February, but we should still promote it and use it as a reminder to tell everybody, don't forget to get all your receipts and records together before the end of the year, because the new year is too late to tell people to, do some last minute spending to have more to deduct for your taxes. So we can use that idea as a way to remind people, as a way to promote a tax.
Mhm. Okay.
so.
And this doesn't have to be set in stone. If you, Ruth, if you and Hazel, or if Hazel decides, I really think taxes should be in November, then that doesn't have to be set in stone. So we're just kind of talking here, but I don't
just
do my taxes ever. We haven't done them from 2020 yet, so I'm the wrong person to talk about this. But I'm gonna put Hazel as the host and or co-host on the taxes one. I don't know who else is. I don't know if you Ruth or somebody else is doing that.
Okay.
Sorry?
Let's work on that later. Enough.
Yeah. Okay. Shoot, I just lost my agenda. Go ahead, Solomon.
The only thing is, don't we do meet the new members in January, the new board?
Yeah. That was not well attended either, but
That one's flexible, but Hazel's,
Yeah.
right. Let's worry about January, February.
Yeah, and yes, I agree. Only because we really need to move on to this next
please.
section.
Okay.
The freelance fellowships, the wording has been finalized and this is coming. Lance, just so you know, we provide up to 3 scholarships for freelance journalists around the country to attend the conference in Las Vegas. We pay for, I'm gonna get it wrong, we pay for various things. Go ahead, Hazel.
Registration, ticket to the President's Awards Banquet. We pay a $250 stipend just for showing up. And we pay a $500 toward travel and hotel or lodging or
So
whatever.
there's 500 toward travel and hotel, 250 stipend just because if you're missing work, you're there. And then the registration to the conference, as well as the dinners, or there's one paid dinner of the President's Banquet. It's $90 or something that we pay for also. So we give that up to 3 people each year, and how to apply for those is online shortly, Hazel, or now?
We have 1 applicant already.
Okay, perfect. And so then there's a committee that goes through those. It's Hazel, me, and Susan to go through those and award those 3 scholarships, and plenty of time to book yourself. And then what we wanted to talk about today was if we should exclude board members. And I'm going to throw that out there and somebody else can take it from here.
I think we need to decide one way or the other because last year none of the recipients were on the board, but Sergey has since then been on the board. So I think that was a very good result of our providing the fellowship.
Right.
I had a Terry Harper Education Award that covered conference registration and the dinner. I think there was a stipend of about the same amount for incidentals. And I'm very torn about whether, I think the problem with letting it be accessible to current board members is it would look too cozy.
I agree.
I agree.
So much as I could use, I mean,
I don't either.
yeah, much as I would love to have some support for what's going to be a very expensive trip, I don't think board members should be eligible.
No, I think that's pretty simple to see there. I mean, most places, they don't allow their board members. Right. I mean, if
So
you try to get
let's say-
scholarships, they don't even let people work at the place get the scholarship sometimes.
Does
So-
anybody have another opinion on this that they want to speak?
I thought we decided that already, that it wasn't open to board members.
Well,
We
what
need
we
to write
decided
that.
already was
Yeah.
that it wasn't open to the people on the committee. So it wasn't open to me, Hazel, and Susan, but we did not decide on board members.
I think it
Well-
was assumed.
Right, exactly. But we just want to make sure that we're not.
I think we assumed it and we should make it official.
Okay.
Right.
I
Okay.
agree.
Let's make that official and we can all be
Are
sad
we
in
all
our
in
corners.
agreement, or is
Yep.
the majority in agreement?
Yes.
I'm just going to say by a show of hands, if you think board members should be excluded from these fellowships, raise your hand.
So move.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then it passed.
Right.
We've never had a vote before, you guys. All right, so the next order of business is conference program. I'm not going over the thank you cards again. We are going to do that. We'll talk about that later, about who should do it. The editor meet and greet, just a very quick update. I'm still looking for editors. I've got 3 so far. I've not made any headway, but I haven't actually put that much effort in because there's not enough time in the day. So I'm going to be looking for more as we get closer, looking for more editors. And I have heard from Karen, who is setting up our room for us. And she is we are getting tables, we're getting round tables, which will make that, if you went to the session last year, you'll see that that will be much more comfortable. So we are going to get round tables. I think she has to make sure that all of the other sessions in that room can use the round tables, and that won't be obstructive for them. So that's that. Stephanie, I'm going to ask Stephanie about the imposter syndrome update. I'm sure she has one. She's got speakers and all of that. Is there any new news on the Freelancing 101, Ruth?
No, it's all set.
Great. Okay. And our speakers again for that one are who?
Travell Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Travell,
Awesome.
Elizabeth Donald, and Solomon.
Oh.
Yay. Perfect. Okay.
Nice, yeah. I'm
Now
like the
I
most
have to
junior
go to
person
that
in the
one.
room.
Well, it's Freelancing 101. So somebody who is relatively new, although you seem to be very active and getting a lot of projects, but somebody who's new to freelancing, who isn't freelancing full-time yet, maybe, I think that's highly appropriate. I think that's somebody people will respond to and whose insights are going to be helpful. You don't have to say a lot, because I think what I have in mind is short intros of the panelists and then let people ask questions.
Well, we did that at NABJ, because I did do this again at NABJ,
Yeah.
which for Travell, because I was worried that he might not show. So now he owes us. So we can.
Well, and I
He
think
doesn't owe us
let's
anything.
have
He's
Solomon,
nice
let's
enough to
have
do it.
let's have Travell and Elizabeth come bring you ideas on what they want it, because we don't know what we don't know, right? They might have some idea of how to start or how to engage
I'm
other
in
people.
touch with them
I'm
about,
excited to work with him anyway. So, but yeah, okay.
and I'm in contact with everybody about how they should, what kind of angles they should cover and how we can shape the session.
Okay.
Yeah, we
And I
can talk
hope
a
they're
little bit
giving
about
you
what we,
ideas too, and not just letting, you sort of, because we can
Not to
like,
worry.
make them do some of the work.
we can
Yeah,
talk a
not
little
to
about
worry.
what
I
we
know how-
went over at
know how
NABJ. We can talk a little bit about some of the, because they did talk about, actually, there were a lot of questions about chat GPT and AI writing and stuff and how to deal with that.
Yeah, I
It's gonna be
figured that'll
helpful.
come up but not to worry, I have it under control.
For conference planning, last board meeting, I asked if you could come up with other ideas that we could offer besides the ones that we have been offering. The lunch, which we're not calling a brown bag lunch anymore. We'll find another name for it. So you'll see on the agenda, we've got the lunch. I'll host that, kind of get that going and running. And then the happy hour, Solomon and I are gonna host the happy hour, and then the coffee clutch. I put Ruth and Sergi on this. I'm hoping that will be how that's gonna go. And then other ideas I had were, they could be promoted just like the other ones too. They could be promoted and just whoever shows up, but we could do a resume review. I've been doing a lot of that lately with different people helping with resumes. We could also do, I called it a sip and share, just we can change that. But I was just thinking like somewhere like just kind of relaxed in the lobby bar or outside by the pool maybe, or somewhere, I don't know what it's gonna look like there. But just a very basic, a networking event with an angle, which is how do you find freelance gigs? Let's sit and share resources. If you don't want to share how you find them, don't come to the sip and share. But if you come, we want to hear how everybody finds them. Where do you look? How do you get them? How do you get rehired? How do you get hired again? Just kind of I thought that might be valuable. But anyway, are there any other, what else can we think of?
Do we want to do something that we label for advanced freelancers, for people who have been doing this for a while?
We could do that, like the mid-career thing.
Because what we're already talking about is pretty much the basics. It's people who've been doing this for several years really should already know how to find projects.
What about something where you're giving advice to getting to the next level that makes it open so that people who are in the beginning of their career can still use the advice? It gives an opportunity for people who are more advanced to be able to speak And it would influence and have a lot of people sharing how they got to that next level in their career. Like we could do like a getting to the next level and just keep it general there. And that kind of tells you that it's about moving your career up. And then it gives enough space for people of different levels to participate. But it
I
would
like the
probably
level-
mostly, focused on senior, more higher level people in their career, obviously from the title. And then that still doesn't alienate anyone, but we know who it's for.
Yeah. I like the leveling up or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's good. I think that could also be one of us could even do this, kind of start a discussion within that on how do you find those gigs? How do you find those freelance gigs? How do you find, you can easily find low paying gigs. How do you find National Geographic? How do you find those things? So,
Right. Or how do you build clientele?
Mhm.
That's something that, when you're trying to get to the next level and you don't want to work at these local publications anymore as much. Now it's about trying to find higher level or more paying clientele and keeping them,
so let's add that and we'll figure out the time, the day and time and all that later. So I'll add that to our freelance corner. And then just moving on, we're going to go to Ruth for, I don't know if you have an update on this, but we did decide that the On Your Own guide, the deadline for that is August 1st, 2023.
Yep, I don't expect that to be a problem.
All right. And then we are going to be promoting this, providing the link to it during the conference. So we just need to make sure that that's there. And if do you have any issues or obstacles or anything that's frustrating you?
Moment.
Okay. Okay.
I've been using Google Docs for another client, so I'm a lot more comfortable with it than I was.
Just so you guys know, I'm about to get kicked out of my space here. I'm on campus and it is 5 o'clock. I am in some offices that I was nice enough that I borrowed.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's done.
And then, okay, so we'll move on to Hazel. I'm attending an AI Revolution talk on Friday. And I will bring what I learned to the next meeting on that.
Oh, I got so much to say about that. Oh my God.
That might have to be like what we do in February then, Solomon. Okay, so Hazel, this is a big one. This actually probably should have been number one. But Hazel, can you please talk to us about this?
Okay, I don't have a problem with the pitching guidelines database. I haven't kept it up this year the way I have in past years. I used to look at everything listed in there. I know there are like 500 or between 300 and 500 media outlets. There are fewer now because some have closed, as we all know. So I haven't looked at every single one every 3 to 4 months this year. I just haven't been able to take the time. We can do the same thing that we did before as far as the QR code. I would suggest that we need to have some kind of poster or something like that. And if we do it enough ahead of time, then we should be able to ask whether anybody in headquarters can make a poster for us, or otherwise, I don't know, maybe one of the LA people could, because they'll be driving probably.
Right. And that could be
Okay.
something we talked to Susan about too.
Right.
Just to put in there though, I do think we should do more than a QR code. I sort of assumed that everybody would be able to do that. And that I found several people last year that did not know how to do that. And were confused. Some of them are older, but not all of them. Some of them were middle-aged or my age, and they couldn't do it. They didn't understand what that even was. So I wonder if we can, what?
I have a suggestion. My suggestion is, last year, we started drafting a pitching basics handout. And it's kind of sitting in our Google Drive, not ever having been completed and put out into the world. We can just release that at conference And,
How?
um,
How do we release it though?
Okay.
we can have a handout at the, a print of it at the Freelance corner. And people can come and pick it up. And if we run out, then somebody runs to the photocopy machine and gets some more.
New ones.
That it's happened before.
So a handout then more than, and not, because obviously they'd have to just type in the URL, right? They just type it in and that's how they would get there.
Wouldn't it be a handout that says, if you'd like to get access to such and such, here's the QR code. To use the QR code, hold your phone up to it or whatever we tell people to do, and boom, it's done.
Well,
Right?
I talked to people through that and they still couldn't do it. I had to do it for them.
well, or we already have a tiny URL to get to the pitching guidelines database.
So put both on the handout. Put both
Yeah.
On the handout.
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
and
So if
that's-
somebody,
Let's do
if someone
do
can't
that.
figure out the QR code, they have the URL, they can go either way.
Right, and Ruth, if you can take any time at all to help me firm that up. That,
Sure. Yeah,
and-
just let me know.
yeah, I
I'm-
would,
I'm not around very much for June. I'm gonna be out of town in Canada tomorrow through Sunday.
Oh.
And then I've got 2 other speaking gigs from the 22nd or 3rd till the 28th.
okay,
July and August are wide open, so.
right.
For the pitching guidelines, for the QR codes, I did all the QR codes last year. I just sort of did it fast and dirty, and I did not pay for the QR codes, and there was an expiry date on it. So I think they were only valid for 30 days, which is fine. But I think we need to mention that too. If we do use if we do use that sort of I don't know if there's any free QR codes. If there are, we'll use those. If not,
There
we should.
there are free ones. The one on the back of my business code is a freebie and it doesn't seem to expire. So we can check for that. And then we can, if there is an expiration date, that's just another line of text on the handout. This is
Okay.
only good until date X.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we are starting to create those to get ahead of things, do not create it before about September 24th.
Well, and we can't create it till we have the material anyhow.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not worried about, there's plenty of time between now and the end of September.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that, and Ruth's got the whole guide to get done, so, anyway.
I'll do it. It'll work out.
all right,
We'll,
So are you not, Hazel,
yes,
are you not asking for help on the pitching guidelines database?
I'm asking for, all right, let me start this differently. I started up these databases about 3 or 4 years ago. And they started out, both of them started out in Excel. And ultimately, I moved them into Airtable and paid for an account. It's not the money. We can get money from the Freelance Fund. It's designated in the founding document of the Freelance Fund that we can take money from there. And I will, if I ever find time to do it again, get in touch with Howard Dubin and find out how he wants to work with us as far as, do we have to open a bank account or something like that to manage money that we take from the fund for technology things, but the money's there. So I'm not worried about any of that. The thing that I'm worried about is, in particular, the Freelance Opportunities database is constantly changing because there's a deadline, it's over, and then there's next year's deadline. And I have things set up in a way that somebody could take it over without having to go through 4 years of work that I've gone through to make it what it is today. But it's a lot of work, and I'm not going to do it after this year.
Right, this is the big thing, just so everybody knows. Hazel's not going to do the fellowships, contests, grants database. And if she doesn't, we're gonna lose it unless somebody comes, well, it's gonna be outdated unless somebody comes or can work with her closely and take this over and find your own way of doing it. You don't have to do it exactly the way Hazel's done it, but updating it, she'll tell you what needs to be updated each month.
You know, I would like to have one person step forward and say, I will look at this with you and let's assess the value and decide if it's worth the effort. I mean, it's my baby and I believe it is worth it, and I
Yeah.
know it's used, but it's a lot of work and I can't force everybody else or anybody else to step in and say, I'm going to do that from now on. And as I get closer to dementia, I'm not there yet. I'm not on my way to it, but I mean, look, I'm 75. I don't intend to be spending my golden years doing this stuff.
Right.
So,
So
and
Hazel is asking for help in the nicest way possible. And thank you, Hazel. Thank you for creating it, for all you've done with it. And I am a huge fan of it. I think it's very valuable. I will just to say, I actually did try to do the pitching guidelines database. And then I realized that my schedule is not okay for that. It could be once my kids are out of high school. It is not right now. So I cannot do this. I cannot take that over. So I'm just going to say that right now that I have way too many. I have a full-time job and I'm a freelancer and I coach a basketball team and I'm the chair of this committee and I've got 2 kids and a husband. So I just can't do, I'm like working till midnight every night. So I can't do it. I would love to, because I just want to take this off of Hazel's plate and make her know that it's in good hands. Anybody here who takes it, it would be in good hands. I fully believe that, but I'm not going to
I
talk.
don't think anybody expects you to take it on, and it seems to me it would be a really good project for one of our newer members to learn about and pitch in on, so to speak.
I'd love to help. I just really need to get this, once I get the, I want to really find a way to automate this process of, you know, just targeting new members, seeing new members that are leaving. Once I get that gone up and running, then I would love to take it on. I just really need to focus on what I'm supposed to be doing.
I totally, yeah. And
One member.
Sergi is, just so you guys know, Sergi's doing a lot behind the scenes and she's having meetings outside of our board meetings with Hazel and they're working together very closely. So hey, Sergi is doing a lot behind the scenes that we don't really talk about, Sergi. Thank you. I always go in and look and I'm like, sometimes once I've gone in a couple times and looked, I'm like, why is this freelance meeting on the Zoom? What is this Zoom meeting for freelance? And I'm like, I texted Hazel, she goes, oh, it's me and Sergi again. I'm like, okay. Got it.
Right.
One possibility would be, and I don't know how amenable he would be, but of the 3 people who received our fellowship last year, Hanana's doing our newsletter and Sergey is doing membership. We might want to check with
Clayton.
Clayton.
I was going to say Claymore, which is wrong.
That's a
we
good
might wanna check
suggestion,
with
Ruth.
Clayton and see if he'd be willing to help out.
I could see him helping Ruth, but it's not the kind, I can't see him doing the technology side.
Ah, okay.
He's like a young new freelancer having to put food on his table and keep a roof over his head.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if I'd probably be the best candidate just because we meet anyway. And I think Hazel and I do a good job as long as I can handle the technological aspects of it. Is that a word, technological?
Yep.
Aspects of it, then that would be great. Just like I said, I just want to get what I'm doing
Sure.
what I'm supposed to be doing right, and then I can step in if I need to, because I can meet with Hazel all day. We
Ah,
have a
I
great
know that
time.
feeling.
Other
Yeah.
than swimming with each other, which I love. It's-
Right, we have a great time meeting together, and I can actually do it once a week or twice a week. But like I said, it's something that I really need to get the membership done, and then I could definitely do the database thing.
Well,
If she'd
okay,
have
well,
me, if we can get that together, unless there's someone else who can pick that up, but I
I
would love
love
to do it.
that idea, and it's good to know that you're, that you'd be willing to step into that role down the road if we can work things out.
Absolutely.
I love
I'm
it.
still in training, y'all, so, but we're getting it together.
With the upcoming side of this is that I'm taking 2 to 3 weeks to travel in New England on vacation, and it's a real vacation. Different from Susan's trip to Portugal, because after Portugal, she goes to Germany to work. So she's on vacation right now, but I think next week or the week after she'll be working over in Europe. But mine is all going to be vacation. And we'll be traveling, and I'm the only driver in the family, so I will be driving from here to Maine and back, with stops in New Hampshire, Connecticut, and New York.
When is this, Hazel?
Yeah, right.
When is it? August?
We're leaving August 10th,
Okay.
and but I
Till
don't,
when? Till when, Hazel?
pardon me?
Till when? August 10th till?
We're not finished with the agenda yet. I'll let you know, but it's going to be at least 2 weeks, maybe between 2 and 3 weeks. But the important thing for you guys to think about is I'm not going to do newsletter updates during that time. And I've been,
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that because I have dates to say too. So during that time, I actually can't help you one of the weeks, but I think we can we not do those for those 2 weeks or?
we can take off whenever we want. I had suggested.
Well, I mean, still do the newsletter, but it's just not quite as filled with so much stuff.
I don't care if you want to take a month off from the newsletter, but I don't think it's a good idea to do that because I think people are using it.
I mean, for your section, do we not? That's what I mean is for your section, because you can't update it. Should we have somebody take over for you in those couple of weeks?
Yes.
Or do we leave that section out? Okay.
I wouldn't leave it out because there are going to be new deadlines and some of them
Yeah.
are going to transpire or expire, come back. So
I might, well, I'm not
I'm not
I
gonna
don't know.
offer to do that because I'm gonna try to focus on the guide.
right.
Yes, I'm totally with you, Ruth. I'm wondering if maybe Chris or Ginny or Susan could do that. And I think someone who has done, has Susan done it before, has done something like this before? No, okay.
Nobody's done it. I mean,
Nobody's done it.
maybe it's just that if there's nothing to report, there's nothing to report. And if we miss.
There will be though, there will be.
But I just want everybody to know. Solomon, are you saying goodbye or are you?
I think he wants to say something.
Let's see, hang on. I gotta find my thing here. Solomon. Oh, down here. Okay, unmute. Can you unmute now?
Okay, thank you. So how long are you going to be gone, Hazel? 2 weeks?
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. And then how many deadlines and things like that do you give per issue?
It's not done that way. I go through. If you're saying maybe you would be able to help, then I'd like to take this. Oh, and Chris says he can help. So maybe let's take this offline and I'll let you guys, I'll set up something maybe with you guys together or
Okay.
maybe
Great.
eat individually and you can look at how I do it and see maybe work something out between you.
Okay,
I appreciate.
Good idea.
How much that warms my heart. I appreciate it.
Hazel, will
Okay.
you be emailing, when you say take it offline, will this just be an email conversation or can you just can you include me on that conversation too, please?
Of course.
Great.
I don't know how much I can help, but I'd like to know what you do.
And Hazel, if you don't mind just CCing me on it so I can just add to agenda, any questions, anything like that for the next,
Why don't I just send an email to the board? And I'll know that Chris and Solomon have volunteered to help and that Sergi will if she can. And, but that way everybody on the board will know what's going on with it and we'll be able to, people sometimes look at things like this and say, oh, here's an idea about how it could be.
right.
That's not as valuable. Let's, maybe we can jettison that. And
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding it, Hazel, that Sergi and you are going to work together for the database, and Chris and Solomon, you're going to talk to about putting out a covering for you when you're gone for those few weeks.
for the newsletter.
Yeah.
Chris is saying yes.
Perfect. Okay.
yes.
Great.
Right.
So Chris and Solomon will take over Hazel's newsletter when she's gone, that part of it.
Right.
And Sergi's going to be
But
on
when
board.
she's on vacation, let's not.
What did I say? I did. Okay. When Hazel's on vacation.
I understand. I've lost.
I'm hearing too many messages lately about people being.
I know.
Okay. Sorry. I am also just going to add before we wrap up here, it's 8:30. I am gone. I cannot do the jobs July 2nd, the week of July 2nd or the week of August 6th. I had sent that email months ago. Just to I think I sent it to Hanan though.
Right.
Just to let people know. And that's a jobs one. Sometimes I find 3 jobs, sometimes I find 12. I don't know if anybody's looking for jobs all the time and wants to step in for that, or again, there's enough of the.
I'll just do it because I see a lot of things like that. I won't do everything that you do, but a lot of times I see the same things you do, and sometimes I send them to you. So
Okay.
I'll take over the jobs for.
Okay, so it's just the week of July 2nd.
Yeah.
So it would have to be wait a minute, hold on, I gotta think about this.
Guys,
Sorry.
I have to go. I don't think you need me for that conversation.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have to go too because they're kicking me out of my building here.
Okay, all right. Bye, Ruth. Bye, Solomon.
Okay, bye, everybody.
We'll
And it's
see.
nice not meeting you quite yet, Lance.
Yeah, nice
Oh,
to talk to them.
Well, we're gonna rope Lance in. He's heard this crazy board meeting. We're roping you in, Lance.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk to you guys later then.
Okay.
All right. See you, Solomon.
Bye-bye.
It actually would be, I actually can do it for the week of July 2nd. I'm sorry, because they're due on Wednesday. That would be due Wednesday, June 28th. That's no problem. I
Okay.
cannot turn in any jobs the week of July 2nd. So I can't, so it needs to be covered for the week of July 9th.
Okay, so.
And then the week of, let me see, August 6th is when I'm gone with Corey. So I can do it. So it's the week of August 13th. So it would be, the deadline for that is August 9th. And the deadline for the other one is the 28th, June 28th, but you can't do that. We'll have somebody else do that.
I can do August 9th. I can do jobs the week of, I can turn in some jobs on the 9th.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you could do it. You could do it. You could turn them in August 7th too. They might be, there might be some that pop up later, but we don't have to get all of them,
No, but the earliest that we'll leave is the 10th. So I'm not worried about
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
I love that I asked people to step in at a time when I could step in for somebody. So it feels good. What a good,
Yay.
that's good. Thank you, everybody.
I'm so, Sergi, I was like having to hold back tears when you volunteered for this database because I know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm still in
If
training.
you saw the email that Hazel sent me, I was like, Hazel, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. I got very emotional. I'm just emotional lately anyway, but Hazel, I just,
Put that at the
that's
end.
why I was like, did you see my agenda? I was like, we need to volunteer today.
I didn't see this email. I don't know, but what's going, but I am here. I am here. I'm just in training and I want to do what I've been elected to do. And as soon as I can get that up and running, then I will absolutely help. Whatever
Awesome.
Hazel wants, absolutely.
And we're
I'm
only
here.
halfway through the year, so we've got some time. So
Okay, but I'm here.
excellent. Thank you. I'm so thrilled. This feels like a big win-win. Okay. So Lance, you just sat through an hour and a half of us talking about, you're probably like, what are they even talking about? I hope you come to a more fun meeting. This was fun, but I hope you come to a meeting where it's like our one in June. Same thing, you can just email that account and I'll send you the link, and that's going to be the multimedia training on how to add photography to your skill set. You've heard about some of these meetings we have coming up, how to win fellowships, how to, so you've kind of got the inside scoop on it. So I'm glad you were here for that. Do you have plans, or you're not sure yet about going to the convention?
I'd like to go to the convention, as I'm running for president of the Arkansas chapter, but even if I don't win that, I'd like to go.
Yeah. Well, our fellowships, please, if you are interested in a fellowship, you could apply for one. We have no idea how many people will apply. If there's only 2 people, then you got it, right? You might get it anyway. But if there's 15, it'll be a little bit, who knows? This is my first year on that committee. I did not help choose last year. Sergi is one of the fellows from last year. And that's part of it. We're going to rope you in if we get it. It's our secret way of getting people to join our board.
It's well worth it. It really is.
Just throw a bunch of money. We're like, here, we'll pay you to join our board. I'm very impressed with I'm actually very impressed. A lot of boards have, I don't know if yours does, Lance, but a lot of boards have vacant slots frequently, and we don't. We are pretty full, which is great. We might have 1 vacant slot. Actually, I don't think we do, but I was the president of the Houston chapter for a little while, and there were 4 of us, and then one of them left, so there was 3. So it was very difficult having a quorum to do anything, and it was really difficult. I think they're doing much better now, but we had a really hard time sort of drumming up interest in joining SPJ in Houston, which is crazy because it's the 4th biggest city in the States, but we had a very difficult time with it. I will say NABJ had a huge presence in Houston, and I think that was like the cool club, and we weren't part of the cool club. We did partner with them on a Christmas party, and when we, like, the board members were the only ones that showed up for SPJ, and everybody else was from the NABJ and I don't know, the Asian American club journalists. Go ask your dad. And they were, I'm so glad they all came, because we had only 3 people and they rocked the party. It was awesome. Yeah. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's why we didn't have members, is because we weren't very cool. We were just not. All right. So anything else? I don't think so. I think we're good.
I think I'm going to apply for that fellowship.
I hope that you do.
I'll see about that.
Hazel left. I actually don't know where it is. But if you go to have you ever gone to the freelancing section of the SPJ? It's hard to find. You go all the way down to go to the homepage and go all the way down to the bottom and click on freelancing. And there's a whole world in there of great stuff. And that's where it should be. If you can't find it, email me. And do you get our newsletter?
I'm not sure.
It comes every Monday with jobs, with freelance gigs. That's what we were talking about, someone covering that. The newsletter, we talk about all the events that are coming up in that week, and freelance jobs and fellowship deadlines for fellowships, contests, different things that freelancers would be interested in. It's so valuable. It's just, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think I do get that.
Okay, that our fellowships will be announced in that, should have been yesterday announced in that. So check it out. If you don't find it, just email me on that same account that you asked for this link, and I'll shoot you I'll find it and shoot you the link. I actually haven't seen it up. We just put it up. I haven't seen it yet. So
Okay.
I'm putting the link to the freelance community in the chat box. I was actually
perfect.
talking you guys up, or our community thing. We had our annual banquet, which was a complete disaster, which is a great story. But I asked I talked about the freelance community a lot, so hopefully we can get some new members. Excuse me, thank you.
Yeah.
Freelance community. So hopefully we'll get some new members off of my little shindig.
Do you see the link in the chat, Lance? If you pull it.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so yeah, you can just click on that. That'll take you directly there. Yeah, so hopefully, well, the website has been under, you know, there's been attempts to redesign the SPJ website. I don't know at all where that stands, but I do think it's hard to find the freelance stuff. It's hard to find all the stuff that's on the bottom of the page, but if you get on regular SPJ's page, the homepage, and you just scroll all the way down, you'll find it. So, but I think a lot of people miss it. I think they miss all the stuff that's on the bottom unless you're really hunting around and know what you're looking for. So it was great having you, though. I'm so glad that you joined. I'm so glad that you checked your email, because I sent you the link so late. Appreciate your patience. Sometimes I forget to check that email every day. So, all right. So I think we're good.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, and I hope that you come, if it works for your schedule, hopefully you'll attend the multimedia training at the end of this month in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll see about it, and maybe next month's too. I'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. And Chris and Sergey, we will see you in a month. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.